I got it. I'm going live in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to the day 4 of the HackFest 2022. We are commencing the third workshop of our learner track today, and I would like to introduce myself. I'm Gurman, the head of operations for Google Developer Student Club at PSB Academy, and I'm a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering student, and I'll be a host for today. Before starting, I would like to give you a notice of recording. This virtual event will be recorded for student activity and promotion purposes. By entering this session, you consent to have photos and videos taken of you and your voice. Let's go through today's agenda once. First, we'll have a session by Mr. Jarawat, and followed by a session by Richard Lee, then a Q&A session and a wrap-up session. So today's HackFest workshop is about Firebase, and I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Jarawat Karanvityakaran. He is a software engineer with over 10 years of experience, currently working at Line, Thailand, as a technology evangelist. He lives in Bangkok, Thailand, and is actively involved in local Firebase community by speaking at conferences and writing blogs regularly. He is also the founder of the largest Thailand Firebase developer group with over 1,000 members. So with that, I would like to pass on the mic to Mr. Jarawat.
Okay, thank you, Gaman. Let me share my screen right now. All right, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, you can see the screen.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Jarawat Karanvityakaran. I am Google developer expert for Firebase from Thailand. I'm honored to be here to give a talk about the Firebase to you. So my topic today is Introduction to Firebase. So I will take around 30 minutes to explain the around 20 features of Firebase. So I will speak fast a bit, so please be attention. Let's get started. At first, when you got the new requirement or got the new project and you have to develop some application, for example, you have to develop the shopping app, you may need to think about the server side that you have to prepare. For example, you have to think about the database, you have to think about the OS, you have to think about the SSL security, and you have to design the database architecture to provide the client side like web, iOS, and Android. So the overall process in developing to the production, you may take time to around 1 month, 2 months, or maybe someone will say 3 months to provide the SDK and running your application to your server. So, so this is a traditional app development that you already familiar with. And the next one, let me introduce the Firebase App Development. The Firebase App Development provides you the backend side backed by Google. So you don't need to care about the server side. Google prepare the server side for you with a scalable side. So you just think about the program, how to program, writing code with your logic and create a magic app to serve the user. Firebase also provides you an SDK to your client side like web and mobile and game. So you easier to get started with the app development, and I'm sure you can ship the app to the production in the short time. So in my experience, I used to join the many of Firebase many hackathon, software hackathon in Thailand, and I see a lot of people in Thailand also use Firebase in the hackathon. So nowadays, Firebase also support many platforms like iOS, Android, web, C++, and Unity, and recently in the Google I/O 2022, they also officially support Flutter. Firebase feature, all of Firebase features are divided into 3 areas. The first one is build better app. There are many features of Firebase that help you build better app fast and secure. And next, improve app quality. They also provide you many Firebase services and a feature that help you find a bug, see the performance of your app, and tweak your application. And lastly, grow your business. They also provide you Firebase feature to help you know about your customer and earn more money. Let's get started with the build better app area. The feature in the build better app area, let's get started with Firebase Authentication. Firebase Authentication allows you to managing the authentication system like login, sign up, log out, and manage session of the user. They allow user to sign in with the email password, many kinds of way to sign in and sign up to your system, like an email password, social provider like Facebook, like Google and Twitter. And you can also integrate your existing member system or system to the Firebase Authentication also, and allow your user to sign in as anonymous to do something like connect to the database, get the data from the database, or upload a file to the cloud storage for Firebase with the anonymous, and allow your user sign in with your phone number. That easier to sign in. Don't need to remember the username or password. And lastly is passwordless. They also provide your user to sign in with the passwordless. They will send the password via email every time, like an OTP, to sign in to the system. The next one is Firebase real-time database. This is a popular feature from Firebase popular service that all of the most of people around the world know Firebase from this feature. The Firebase real-time database is a NoSQL database. The data in Firebase real-time database will collect as a JSON tree, key, and value on the cloud. and synchronization all of the data with the server side and your client side automatically, and also provide offline support with the list of code, the few lines of code. You can make it happen. So let me explain this picture to you. This is picture that explains how does the Firebase real-time database work very well. So in this picture, you will see two lines of color. The yellow one, when people would like to write something, to put something to the server on the cloud, they will send it to the Firebase real-time database, right? And when the Firebase real-time database get the new data in the meanwhile, and when many devices, client devices like web or mobile, subscription or listening to the Firebase real-time database with a specific part, when the data change it in the specific part, Firebase real-time database will publish the new data to the client side automatically. You don't need to write the program to ask for the new data every 3 minutes or every 5 minutes, no need. So this technology helps us save user battery a lot. And one of the features that I love Firebase real-time database is offline support. When you get lots of connection, you go to somewhere and get lots of connection, your application will be, you can use your application anywhere, anytime. So people can read the data that user used to read from the server, and user can also write the data to the local devices. When the connection back to the normal, when you get connection, all of the data that stored in the local device will sync up automatically to the cloud. So it's sorting by time to time. It's really good. And the feature that I explained you here, you don't need to program much, just a few lines of code and make it happen. And the next one in build by that app is Cloud File Store. The Cloud File Store is the next generation of Firebase database. The Cloud File Store is also be a NoSQL database. It is like a document oriented. Is a document oriented, like a collection. So it's similarly with the MongoDB. If you used to program with the MongoDB before, the concept of how to write the data or read the data is similarly too. Cloud File Store also support multi-region around the world, and the query from the querying data from the Cloud File Store is easier than the Firebase real-time database because you can add many conditions to the query, like multiple way or order by multiple field, that you cannot do that in Firebase real-time database. And Cloud File Store also support offline support by default, so you don't need to write any line of code. By default, they will support offline. So if you would like to make it only online, you can just write one line of code to make it online. It's very cool, right? And the next one is the cloud storage for Firebase. The cloud storage for Firebase allows your user to store and download, upload and download file to the Google Cloud services, to Google Cloud Storage. So it provide you SDK that your user will easier to your developer can easier program with it with a few lines of code. Also, you can write the code to upload and download file from the Google Cloud. So they also handle the pool connectivity that I will show you the next slide. And all of the cloud storage for Firebase backed by Google Cloud. So you can think, you can feel free, don't think much about the server because it is a scalable services. Let me show you how to handle the pool connectivity. So when you upload your big file, for example, I take a photo with a 10 megabyte of photo, and I upload it to the Google Cloud Storage for Firebase. And I upload it as a 60% of the file, and then you get lots of connection. The cloud storage for Firebase will save the state and keep the data that you already uploaded to the cloud storage Google Cloud. And after that, when you get the connection back, they will start from the 61% to 100. So you don't need to start from 0 to 100. So it's really cool, and you don't need to write any line of code. They also support it already. This is cool, right? Next one is a cloud function for Firebase. Cloud function for Firebase is a service that allows developer to write function and store in the cloud. Especially the function that you write can trigger by the Firebase feature on the screen. You will see many kind of the feature that Firebase provide you, and you can write the function to listen to the activity or event that user will interact with your application. For example, if you would like to know who is already signed up my application, so I can write the cloud function, write the function, and then listen to the sign up event from the Firebase authentication. When the user sign up to the application, they will send the signal or the event to your function to do something. Like, for example, when they send the event, you can grab some user information like an email and then send the welcome message, send the welcome email to your user. The cloud function for Firebase also provide you to create the HTTP function, HTTP request, like a webhook API. You can create the API from the cloud function, and it's really easier. So you just use the command line to init the Firebase function in the command line and writing the code with the JavaScript language. You can write it with the Node or TypeScript. And after you finish the function, you can deploy it to the server by the one command line of code, Firebase deploy. It is easy. So next one is Firebase ML. The Firebase ML is a machine learning that you can bring the Google machine learning to your application. So in the Firebase machine learning from today, you can use many features that help your user immersive into the machine learning. For example, like image labeling, you can use this feature to detect the object in the photo that user take. And the landmark detection, you can detect the location that the photo was taken. And you can also get the latitude and longitude also. And the text recognition, you can grab or extract the text from the photo that user upload or user sent to. And Firebase machine learning also provide you two more features that I think is really useful. In the real life, if you would like to do the image classification and implement it to your application, like people take a photo and they can, the system can tell what the photo is. With the specific case, you have to hire many of them. You have to hire many of them data scientists to do this, right? Or maybe you have to learn a lot about data scientists to create model yourself, right? But in the Auto ML Visionet, in the Firebase ML, they provided to in the console. You can go to the Firebase console via the web browser, and after that, you can take a lot of photo, and you can grouping the photo and upload it to the tool, to the Firebase server. The Firebase server will train the picture that you upload as a data set to be a TensorFlow model to you. And you just download the TensorFlow model and implement it to your Android or iOS. And then, boom, the amazing app will happen. Your user can take a photo and you can predict what the photo is in case from the photo you upload, the set of the photo you upload. And one more thing is TensorFlow Lite model and a custom model. If you have the knowledge in machine learning, you can build a TensorFlow model and TensorFlow Lite model, sorry, and make it add it to your application also. And next one is Firebase hosting. And Firebase hosting is the host that allow you to store the static file of website like a HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or images you want to store. Is this a global? They also provide a global CDN, and the hard disk, the storage is a SSD, so you can aim. People will retrieve the data from the server very fast. Firebase software also provide you SSL, but for free by default. So the URL that you upload the file to the server, you will get the URL with the HTTPS by default. And if you would like to get the custom model, like you would like to get more professional with your domain, your own domain, you can register the domain and binding with Firebase hosting and use your custom model. They also even I told you that the Firebase hosting is a static website, but you can also implement it and develop it to the dynamic website by integrate with the cloud function for Firebase or Cloud Run from Google. And they also support the multiple sites in one project. Next, actually there are a lot of the Firebase feature, Firebase services in the build better app, the first area. The next one is the Firebase extension. The Firebase extension will help you reduce your work. For example, in this picture, I think the most of you may use to develop the image resizing module, right? So when you got a new project, you might you might have to develop this module again, and the next project you might use this again. So in Firebase extension, they help you with the preview solution that you don't need to do the program or the function that you have to build redundant every time when you create a new project. So you can use the Firebase extension as a plug and play. You can choose the extension that you would like to do. That, for example, like a resize image or translate the text, you just plug and play, and then it happens to your system. You can spend just 10 minutes or 15 minutes to get this function to your application. And lastly, in the build better app area, Firebase App Check. So Firebase App Check is a service that helps you prevent or protect your server-side services. Actually, when you build the application or website, you may connect to the Google Cloud service, you may connect to the another Firebase services, or you may create your own API, right? When the people from the internet request to your services, this picture is okay, but it's possible that someone that is not allowed, that is not from the right place from your application, may make request directly to your server services. Yeah, this one is not good, right? Because someone may hack you, may phishing you. So Firebase App Check will be the man in the middle, like a man in the middle here. So they will filter all of the requests from the internet. If the request is directly from your application, the right application, they will allow the request to the server side. But if someone fakes the request or make a bad request that is not come from your app directly to your server, Firebase App Check will help you protect and block that request. This is so cool. That help you save a lot of money. Let me move to the second area, improve app quality. There are 4 features in this area. Let's get started with Firebase Test Lab. Firebase Test Lab is a service that allows you to upload your APK from Android or IPA from iOS, go to the server, and then you can specify the device that you would like to take, both virtual device and the physical device. You can choose the Google Pixel version that you would like, or Samsung or Huawei or something else. And then you can just deploy the APK to the system. Also iPhone, you can also deploy the IPA and then allow robot to test your application. The results of the Firebase Test Lab will show you the error case, the error journey that the robot found. For example, when they open the application, log in and found some error, they will capture all of the journey, and also video to provide you as a developer. This service is so cool. If you don't have a lot of QA in your team or tester in your team, I'm recommended to try the Firebase Test Lab. Next is Firebase App Distribution. When you develop Android and iOS app, you may want to get a feedback early, right? Firebase App Distribution is a tool that allows you to send the application to your trust tester to get early feedback from trust tester. By you can deploy your application like IPA or APK, Android and iOS, to Firebase console via Firebase CLI, Fastlane that you may familiar with, and Gradle to your trust tester, and then get the feedback from them. Before you will get the feedback, and you can improve your app quality before you launch the new version of your app to production. Next is Firebase Catalytic, is the feature that's popular around the world. There are more than 3 billion devices that use Firebase Catalytic right now. So Firebase Catalytic is a clash reporting tool that helps you when you deploy the application to production and user found the broken or clash or something to make your app false code. The Firebase Catalytic will notice the developer via email that with the priority of the email that you can see and aware about the clash that happened to your user, and also provide you the tool that you can dig down and deep dive to see the detail of the clash in your application via Firebase console in the web browser also. Next is Firebase Performance Monitoring. Firebase Performance Monitoring is a tool that helps you check the app health. There are two kinds that Firebase Performance Monitoring provide you. First is the HTTP network request. You can see HTTP network requests that make requests to your application. You will see slow requests or which part is slow in your application with the network. In my experience, I create an application that shows the profile picture to your user, to my user. And when my server my static server that store the profile image go down, I'm good that I write the program that prevent the clash for this function. People will see no image in my application, but actually the API is go down. But how to know my API is go down? How to get to know it's go down now? So Firebase Performance Monitoring will tell me which APIs already go down or get the full XX status from the HTTP. So they help me to fix the problem that behind the scene that I never know before. And the next one is the tests. You can write the program to indicate how long that it takes from point A to point B. Like you open the application to the, you see the splash screen, how long that it takes for this process. And you can see the time that from the point A to point B, and then improve the app quality then. The last area that I'm gonna tell you today is grow business. There are many kind of features that help you grow your business, know your user, and earn more money. The first one is Google Analytics for Firebase. Google Analytics for Firebase is built for the application, especially for Android, iOS, Flutter app also. And they decide and focus on user event and user behavior. So you can grab the data from user behavior or user property and binding to create the new audience group. And after that, you can targeting to the audience group that you create. It is super useful to send a campaign or a promotion to your user. Next one is a Firebase Prediction. It's one of the Google machine learning that you can bring it to your application. So Firebase Prediction will grab all of the data that you would like to know from the Firebase, Google Analytics for Firebase, and train the data and train the model. And after that, they will create a group of the prediction that you can use this with the Firebase cloud messaging, in-app messaging, and remote config to provide user or serve user with the many kinds of experience. In the process behind the scene of the Firebase Prediction, they will use the data from 100 model before to train it and predict what is the next 7 days that people with the next 7 days with the specific event that you would like to know. For example, if you would like to know how many people will buy the item in the next 7 days, you can specify the action buy that you collect it from Google Analytics for Firebase and use it as a use a prediction tool. The prediction tool will take around 24 hours to create a model, create the sample group of the prediction, and you can use the sample group, this one, to encourage people to buy more in your application. And next is the Firebase cloud messaging. This is one of popular Firebase feature that most of the people use in the application. When you would like to send a notification to your user, to your application, you can use Firebase cloud messaging. This is a free, I forgot to tell you, all of the feature in the Firebase, in the area 3, grow your business are free for you. So you can send 1 million of notification via Firebase cloud messaging. They also provide you the SDK that you can implement it in your application. You can write the code to send a specific user, send a notification to a specific user, or you can also use the tool that they provide in Firebase console via website. You can open the website and send a notification to your user easily. And you can create a conversion funnel to see how notification work. Next is Firebase in-app messaging. Firebase in-app messaging is similarly to Firebase cloud messaging, but the different thing is Firebase in-app messaging is the message that only happen when the people open the application. They will not come in the background. When the people open the application foreground, you can alert the people. You can send them campaign or promotion with the really beautiful messages that you can design via the Firebase console. No need to code. This is these are the example that you can send the message. You can send like text and image, only image, or like a notification to your application. Next is Firebase remote config. The Firebase remote config is a tool that you can write the program that you can store key and value in the cloud and write the program to retrieve the key and value to your application. Firebase remote config already provide you the tool via the Firebase console. You can go to the website firebase.google.com and use this to store key and value, and you can write the code to get the value changes from the cloud, and you can create the AB testing that you can specify the group user audience group A and B and see the different thing via the Firebase tool. Firebase tool also already provide you the menu that you can specify A and B value in the cloud, in the Firebase console, sorry. Next is Firebase testing. Let me check my time. Okay, almost over. Firebase AB testing is the one of the feature that you would like to validate your idea. Sometimes you will may launch the new feature. For example, this on the screen, you will see many color of the button in the application. Sometimes you may want to validate your idea, which color is better for your user or encourage user to click. You can use the Firebase AB testing to create the group of audience, like a control A, B, C, and publish it to the group. And after that, the Firebase AB testing will help you check which one is the best choice for you. And after that, you can roll out all of the user with the feature that you that got the best feedback. Go to the last one, Firebase Dynamic Link. Firebase Dynamic Link is a service that helps you customize different user experience via the single URL. So you can create the URL via Firebase Dynamic Link in the Firebase console via the website, or you can write the program to create the link. When the people click the link, you can grab the stat from to the Google Analytics for Firebase, sorry, and the link is really clever. They can separate the environment that people open, like Android or iOS, and they can check that user already have the application or not. If not, they will send the people, redirect the people to the store and install the application. And if the user already have the application, they will help your user open the application with the specific screen that you want. And this feature also survive the installation. For example, if you would like to user to go to the screen B and user haven't installed your application yet, when the people or user click the link, they will go to the store apps, Google Play or App Store to download the application. And after the user install the application, they can go to the screen bin at first. This is really cool also. That's all for me. That's all for Firebase feature that that you can use it by today. I think I hope you get the idea to implement the Firebase and help you accelerate your application, build a better app, grow your, improve your app quality, and grow your business to the application you're gonna build. So thank you for joining me and my session, and let me pass to the organizer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jarawat, for such a thorough introduction to Firebase. I'm sure this will help all our hackers and all our viewers to develop a better app. So now I would like to introduce our second speaker, Mr. Richard Lee. Mr. Richard is the CTO and co-founder at iCook. He is a Google developer expert for Firebase and also a line expert. He has been sharing in the Google community since 2009, and he is a previous founder of Insight and was listed in Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia. With that, I would like to pass on the mic to Mr. Richard.
Hi, folks. It's really happy to have the chance to share with you about Firebase in today's event. Let me share my screen first. So yeah, as introduced that actually I also was a active Google developer member when I was still a college student. During that time in Taipei, we just have the Google developer community. So I do give talks and host hackathons just like you do right now. So it's my honor to have a chance to share with you about Firebase. So today my topic is about grow and enhance your apps with Firebase features. Some of these features might just be covered by Jarawat, but I mean I will try to describe and introduce them in a different way. So I'm not pretty sure about how many of you have ever heard about Firebase. In the past few years, you can see a lot of new announcements, just like the Google I/O event happened in this week. There's a lot of new announcements for maybe Flutter, for Google Android, for Chrome, and also lots of new features for Firebase. So what is Firebase in the end? I would describe Firebase as the toolbox to develop your app and grow it. Sometimes people are asking me, say, hey, Richard, how should I learn Firebase well? I mean, they try to find a book or find some guide that they can, become a Firebase expert. But even as a Firebase Google developer expert like me or like Jarawat, we all know that there's so many features for Firebase. Not everyone knows every feature, thoroughly. Say there's things like Cloud Function. Firebase Cloud Function is a product that can help you to implement some business logic using Google's cloud infrastructure. But some of the Firebase developers, they love to use features that can help them to grow or analyze their business. So for me, I became a Firebase developer expert because I use a lot of this kind of features that help my business grow. So let me slightly introduce myself. I'm Richard Lee, and as introduced, I am the co-founder and CTO of iCook. This is a recipe app in Taiwan and Hong Kong that we have millions of users every month. They come and share their home cuisine and to other internet those home cook. And I'm also one of the Google developer expert for Firebase in Asia. I think it's only me and Jirawat. And also I am familiar with Line API. So I was also selected as a Line API expert. So, but anyway, please do contact me if you have any problem. My common internet username is directly at Twitter, GitHub, basically everywhere. And I'm really happy to chat with you if you have any idea about startup, especially as a technical co-founder doing startup, you will face a lot of challenges, and that's what I used to be. So from the past 10 years of my startup experience, not only for iCook, actually I do start other company and sold it for the past 10 years. And I know that for engineers, sometimes we think that we have a good idea and we spend like hours, days, sleepless night doing coding, just like you are having hackathon right now. You spend days working on a project, and okay, when you launch it and you say, okay, it's done. The reality is, no, it's not done yet. It's just like 1% of the journey. Just shipping the product is still far from that getting the product succeed. So what really matters is that how you can iterate it and enhance it. We are not just so genius, so smart that we can always guess the right design, right product feature for our users. Sometimes we guess it wrong. And it's common. We usually guess it wrong. We guess that, okay, people might like it, but in the end, they don't like it. And we need to turn it away and do the feature in a quite different way. So the key to succeed from my startup experience is how you can rapidly navigate between these changes. Have a good way to observe your app and try to make it stable, make it fast, and analyze it, then do A/B testing and try to find out the best product that fit the market. So again, let me rephrase it. I think Firebase do provide you a lot of tools that can help you to enhance and grow your app, and that's what I really want to share today. So there's just so many features. I try to focusing on the must-haves for any apps. Just like if you do a great job in this hackathon, you probably want to bring this hackathon project become your startup idea, and maybe form a company and doing the following development work. So first of all, you need to enhance your app. I mean, as a hackathon project, we can understand that many codes or design are just rapidly to put together, and this might be not quite stable. So first, make your app stable is really important. Then you need to analyze your app usage. Then after that, you probably need to do some changes and try to do some experiments. Say you want to tweak the design a little bit and see how it works. Does it gather more user? Does it help our sign up rate? Things like that. So first thing first, make your app stable. And I would sincerely recommend you must check out the Firebase Questionnaire product. Firebase Questionnaire is, I don't know how many of you have ever developed a native app, like Android app or iOS app. This product is only for a native app platform. It supports Unity, it supports Flutter, but sorry, it doesn't support web platform yet. And Firebase Questionnaire, some of you, I'm not sure because you folks are young, but I mean, Firebase Questionnaire is already in the market for 10 years. Just in the last month, I had a chance to talk with the original Questionnaire product manager. He's still working in Google. It used to be a startup. Questionnaire used to be a startup, then they later be acquired by companies, and finally it becomes Firebase Questionnaire. So it's a super lightweight and real-time crash reporter. I think lightweight and real-time are important. It's like leading crash reporting service. You can use it on Apple platform. Nowadays, when we develop iOS app, we probably also develop a Mac app or Apple Watch app, Apple TV app. So it's not only works on iOS, iPhone form factor, it also works on tablet, works on TV, works on Apple Watch, Mac. And of course, it does support Android, Flutter, those Google native stuff, and it supports Unity. So it's a leading crash reporting service. I met a lot of startup friends, and if they do app development, I mean, everyone use Crashlytics. So you really need it if you also have a native app. And it's super easy to integrate it. If you are using Android Studio to develop your app, and I mean, there's some built-in functionality. You can just click and sign up your Google account, set a Firebase project, and click, then you can set it up. And if you use iOS, nowadays at Crashlytics, they provide native support for the most popular dependency management tools. One is Apple's Swift package management system, and the other is Cocoa Pods. Both are quite common and popular choice for Apple developers. And I think just like the example that Jilawa gave, that he has a case that the profile picture, it doesn't show up, and he noted and he want to fix it. And for app crashes, it's more critical, right? When user open your app and probably tap few screens and it just fresh out and back to the home screen, and people get frustrated. So you really need to notice as fast as possible. If you release a new app and see lots of people get crashes, you really want to note it as soon as possible. So for Firebase, you can receive the email or Slack notification, I mean, in a timely fashion, usually like in minutes. So sometimes we will see that maybe one of our API down, and that API caused our app crashes. And we can actually also receive not only from real-time performance monitoring, but also from Crashlytics as well. And from my experience or from our company standard, usually when our app team release a new version, we try to keep a 99% crash-free sections or even higher. Because you know that nowadays, if you want to get a user to download your app, it's pretty hard. For a hackathon project, sometimes if you can get like hundreds of downloads of your app, it's pretty well. But for 99% of crash-free sections, which means that there's still one person in 100 people that will get a bad experience. And it's a waste of your engineering resource and waste of your marketing resource. You spend time develop an app and try to that user to install it, and then they get a crash experience and they will hate it. They're probably not to complain about it because they just leave. But it's still a waste. So you need to, for startup or for any serious project, I would really emphasize the importance of constant monitor your Crashlytics dashboard to make sure that you have a high crash-free rate. And just announced in the Google I/O 2022 this week, they have a native integration with Android Studio and Google Play. So as you can see on the screen, now this is Android Studio. And on the bottom top, it's a panel that shows the recent crashes from Crashlytics. So you can even check it with the details, like what kind of the devices, what brands, what Android version that user use that they have crashes. And so you can easily to navigate between crashes and your source code and to find out what might probably cause these crashes. So this is super convenient. Before that, you need to check the web dashboard and to see, okay, where might be the problem, and go back and forth from the Crashlytics web dashboard and the Android Studio. But nowadays, you can just use Google's integration between Android Studio and Crashlytics and check the crash directly. So again, highly recommended. Next, that we need to analyze app usage. This is also important, right? So Gerald also introduced this product. It's called Google Analytics. And previously, it formerly known as Firebase Analytics. So sometimes when you Google or you do Stack Overflow and search for some reference or some questions, and you might be get confused about what is Firebase Analytics, what is Google Analytics. So don't get confused. It actually the same product, but get a new branding. And Google Analytics, which is the de facto standard for web analytics previously for the past 20 years, when I worked in the internet industry, everyone knows Google Analytics. Everyone uses it. Okay. But for app, Google used to roll out a product called Firebase Analytics. And for the past few years, they finally figured out there shouldn't be separation between app and web analytics. So they combined it together and it released a new product called Google Analytics 4, or abbreviation as GA4. When we talk about GA4, which is the Firebase Analytics, turned out to be a GA4. Okay. So it's most used analytics app by internet professionals. Everyone, developer, marketing professional, everyone knows Google Analytics. And the previous Google Analytics, if any of you have used Google Analytics before, I also need to let you know that the previous version of Google Analytics will be end of life next summer. So if you don't know this yet, please do have some preparation. You probably received some emails from Google that told you that you need to migrate it to new GA4, which is Firebase Analytics. And I think some of you can read a lot of product introduction online, but as a startup experience, or the one who really use those analytics tools, I will put emphasis on there's a key feature from Google Analytics 4 is called Google Signal. Google Signal is actually a way that Google share their data, because nowadays we know that no matter you use Android, you use iPhone, you use web browser, you sign into your Google account. So Google should know that for different devices, say for example, I have both iPhone and Android and also web browsers, and I sign into Google accounts for all these devices. And Google Signals can help Google Analytics users to combine the usage behavior between these devices. Again, if we don't enable Google Signal, and that's something that you need to enable in Google Analytics settings. When you enable it, Google will use its own database, try to connect user behavior between different devices for you, and also for free. And this is really important. Some people turn out this feature and found that they have less user. That's not because they have less user. It's because that Google helped you to duplicate those users. Probably the same user, they use iPhone and use web browser. And before you enabling Google Signal, there might be counted as two separate users. But when you enable Google Signal, and they know that, okay, that's the same user because they log into the same Google account. So from my perspective, that's a great feature. It's not easy to replicate unless you have Google scale data, right? So if you use Google Analytics 4, please do enable it. I highly recommend it. And since now we can have both web and app and maybe several apps to send data into the same Google Analytics property known as streams. So Firebase can help you to pipe your event stream into the Google Analytics property. And basically, this is how it works. So let me show you some, what you can get from Google Analytics 4. You have a nice, decent real-time view that where your user comes from. Sometimes when you, like me, I'm a startup co-founder. Sometimes I feel so tired, so exhausted. I will turn on this dashboard and see, okay, there's so many users using my app. Okay, maybe I should keep hard working, right? And of course, you can do analysis, like which app versions is the most popular one. You release app, probably user get download or user get updated, but some might not. So you can check which version is the most popular one. And also you can do some segmentation, say new user, those who highly engage, those who make purchase, what's the behavior patterns between these different segments. You can do some analyze. Okay, so next, I will also introduce a new Firebase feature code that can help you remotely update UI or configs. And this is Firebase Remote Config. I'm not pretty sure Java did describe it yet, but this is one, also one of the most commonly used features that in our daily works. So the idea is simple, that that no matter it's Apple or Google, when you have a new app update, you need to send it to App Store or to Google Play Store, and for them to review it. I think the review process is getting better nowadays, but it still takes like 1 day or 2 days to get it reviewed. And sometimes they will say, oh, there's some problem with your app, so you need to you need to change it and resubmit it and waiting for another review. And sometimes you really need to say, I have a campaign, I have an event that I want to do an event during the Lunar New Year holiday or during the Christmas. So I have some time constraint. I really need to send an update. But at that time, maybe the review team say, no, there's something wrong with your app. So that might be a mess, because if you couldn't push the update, publish the update and get user updated on their phone at the time that you plan to do so, it might be a trouble. So Firebase Remote Config is a service that can help you to do this, just as name implies, remote config. It works on native apps and also on the web. And basically, you can think about it as cloud-based JSON key value dictionary, but you can provide different value for different kind of audience. Say, for example, for audience from Singapore, I want to give them this kind of JSON, and for audience from Taiwan, and the key, like the greetings, will have some Taiwanese dialogue in that remote config. So in reality, actually, we usually use it as a lightweight API. Say, for example, I do an AI app and there's a banner on the front page and showing some promotion, things like that. Of course, you can use Firebase to develop APIs to that your user use your app to fetch the API and get a banner updated. But you can also use remote config. It's just a simple web interface and tweak some value, and the app will get that value. And sometimes we also use it to dynamically to enable or disable feature for a specific period of time. Say, for example, I have a special promotion for Lunar New Year holiday, and I can turn it on, turn it off just using remote config without publish app changes. But be careful that the remote config isn't fetched real time. So sometimes the changes will be propagated to app clients, usually take less than 1 day. But if you have something that really need to happen in 1 day, that you need to be careful. So as you can see here, I probably define a new condition for certain kind of user. And for this kind of user, like I define those users that have played my game and between the level 4 to 10, and I will define them as intermediate players. And for those intermediate players, when they see the daily energy bonus, they get a daily energy bonus, they usually can get only 20 bonus. But for advanced player, they can get 30, and for common user, they get 10. So this is basically the idea how remote config works. So the last feature that I would like to introduce is how you can help your team to run A/B testing. The product is Firebase AB Testing. It's actually a combination between the features that I just described. So Firebase AB Testing is like a plugin for all Firebase, I wouldn't say all, but many Firebase features. Like the remote config that I just shared. Like you see that we can set targeting groups that for certain kind of users, they receive a specific value. For the other kind of the user, they receive the other value. And we can do some changes on our app, right? So to use Firebase A/B testing, actually you need to set up a few components. First of all, you need to have Google Analytics set up, because A/B testing means that we want to find a better candidate. Which one is right? So to define what is right, what is better for your business, you need to analyze your app, right? So if you don't analyze your app, it's hard to do A/B testing because you have no goal settings. So that's the reason why I introduced this product as my last introduction, because you first need to set up Google Analytics to do targeting and measurement. Say I am a recipe app, so in Firebase Analytics, in Google Analytics, I might probably to set up some goal or to observe that how many users have published a recipe, how many users have signed up accounts, and that's the key metrics. So once we have the goal set, then we can do what? We can do that, say for remote config I just described. There's maybe some remote config about some sign up call to action text. Say just come to sign up today and get free recipe or things like that. And I want to see which copywriting works the best. So to use Firebase A/B testing, that it can help me to split target into groups. Previously, that I probably need to define like, okay, those are intermediate users, those are advanced users. But Firebase A/B testing will dynamically, automatically to separate like a few % of users into groups and to see that which variant, in my case, is which kind of the copywriting will work the best. Then it also helps you to do the statistics to calculate, okay, which kind of variant might be the best. So you can see from the screenshot, the basic idea is that you define an experiment. Say for this experiment, we want to do a sign panel test. Then we want to use 10% of users to do the test. Then for those 10% of users, I would also like to separate it into 4 groups. Say maybe one group is safe and secure group. So in that group, I will show them UI text copywriting that say keep your data safe. And the other group, I want to try to use a green background. And the last group, you want to use both safe text and green background, and to see these 4 kind of variant, including the original one, which will result in a better sign up rate. So finally, as I described, like you first need to set up Google Analytics, then you will have a Google Analytics goal, conversion goal, what makes this experiment variant succeed. And we will judge by the numbers of users signed in. So yeah, that's how A/B testing works in general. So takeaways. I know there's many features in this section, I know. So I would describe a few. The must-have is that you can use Firebase Questionnaire. Try to make sure that you have 99% crash-free sections. And also you must have is Google Analytics. It's a de facto standard for app and web analytics. Basically, everyone uses it, so try to set it up. And do make sure that you enable Google Signal as well. And there are some nice to have. Today, I introduced Firebase Remote Config. It saves time for marketing or testing. And one that I didn't mention today, but mentioned in Jirawa's slide, and I also recommend you to give it a try, is Firebase Cloud Messages. It can help you to win back users, send push notifications, but it depends. If you have such kind of scenario, I would say it's a nice choices. And usually in hackathon, if you use Firebase Cloud Messaging, it's a nice addition that sometimes the judge will be surprised that, okay, they can receive notification from your hackathon project. And for others, it highly depends on your use cases. So I just list a few, like the one I described, Firebase messaging is send push notification, also show in-app prompts, and Firebase App Check, Firebase Prediction, Test Lab, dynamic links, and extension. All of these are just described in Jirawa's section. If you are interested, please do check the video that to see his introduction. So that's it. Thank you for your time, and it's my honor to share with you about Firebases. So let's see if you have any question, and let me give the time back to the organizer.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard Lee, for sharing so much. I hope this will help all our participants and all of you, the viewers, for not just for HackFest, but for making apps in the future as well. So now I would like to go on to the Q&A session. And anyone who has any questions can type it in the chat, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. Yeah, thank you.
I'm keeping a look on the chat on the YouTube, so I'll let you all know if there are any questions. Do post in your questions on the YouTube chat. Thank you. Maybe I can pose a question that was raised earlier by one of the participants. So what are the scaling limitations of the real-time database?
Okay, let me tell the answer. Let me answer this question. So the scalable in real-time database right now, one database is support 1 million of concurrent of the database. And you can also have the multiple database in one project, multiple real-time database in one project. So they separate the quota of the concurrent divided by each database. So if you have 2 real-time database in one project, is that mean one database will support 1 million of concurrent and another one also 1 million of concurrent.
Thank you for the answer. Another question raised was, I am an existing Google Cloud Messaging developer. Should I move to Firebase Cloud Messaging?
Okay, let me answer this.
Okay.
And I think it's okay to just keep your settings. I think Firebase and Google Cloud, they share a lot of similar features. And most of the time, as a Firebase developer, actually we use interchangeably with Google Cloud features. So what works for you right now, I will suggest that you just keep using it. Unless you find there's some feature that's missing and it's only available in the other product offering, and I will suggest the change.
Thank you. Another question raised was, why do you require SHA-1 in Firebase?
Can you repeat the question again?
The question states, why do you require SHA-1 in Firebase?
I guess that I know the question and answer. I think for SHA-1 hash that's required to set up Firebase for Android is because that for authentications, for security issues, that we need to make sure Firebase need to make sure that this is the right app signed by the right app developer because there's a feature like Google signing, which is a bit of dangerous if Firebase doesn't check the app is authentic from the the right developer. So I know this might be a bit of troublesome, but please do understand it's not only happen for Firebase. If you do Facebook signing or do some third-party signing, there will be similar requirements. Yeah.
Thank you. Another question is, because Firebase has many multiple products like storage and database and authentication, are there any standard guidelines that you have for using multiple products like authentication and database together?
Let me share my experience. So you can learn how to integrate many of the Firebase feature in my Firebase services via the Firebase sample project, and you can go to GitHub and go to the Firebase GitHub and check the label that the Firebase provided sample app. There are many kinds of sample app that you can see how to use the many kinds of feature leverage together in one application.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder to the participants that if you have any more questions, do post them in the YouTube chat. We can keep a lookout for the chat. Thank you.
I have a question of my own. How many Firebase apps can fit in one Firebase project? If I don't want
Question.
a project for it.
In one project, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Richardly, do you know how many apps that we can have in one project?
No, usually if I have different apps, sometimes I usually set up different projects, unless it's a cross-platform scenario. Like we have iOS, Android, and web. Then I will put it into the same project. But if I have different, idea, I will separate it into different projects. Let's see.
I think there are no more. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I was just going to say that there are no more questions on the YouTube chat.
Okay.
So if there are no more questions on the YouTube, and think any okay, viewers, if you have any more questions, you can still type it in the chat. We'll stay for just 2 more minutes, and then we can skip to the next part. tables.
Okay, I find the answer that you can only have 30 apps in single Firebase project.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question. How to reduce the cost of Firebase?
I'm not sure what the service that the people want to know about the reduced cost. Let me share if you would like to, one of the popular feature, the Firebase real-time database. If you would like to reduce the cost of the Firebase real-time database, you can design the database as a channel to store the data. Does that mean you shouldn't design the deep architecture inside the JSON tree? If you would like to query the data from the Firebase real-time database, when you reference to some part and that part have the many of level inside, you will get, when you specify the parent, all of the child key and value will come together in a one request. So this will charge you the money. So the best practice is design is as a shallow, no deep down, no so much level in the structure of the database.
That answers that question. Okay, so we have another question as well. Can Firebase Paste be used in tandem with Map API? That is Firebase Store DB of geolocation. Would you like to repeat? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sorry, this question, I never tried to use a tandem with the Map API before, but as I know, Firestore, right now you can also write the geolocation. Is this one of type of the data that you can store in the Firestore? But I don't have any detail about the tandem with Map API. Sorry.
Yeah, I also have little experience with Map API, but I'm sure that you can use Firestore to store, data. So for Map API, if you have any point of interest or any kind of user data you want to save, you definitely can save it into Firestore, then prod it out and mesh up with Map API. So I guess that you can find some sample from Google about use Google Maps API along with Firebase.
Thank you so much. If there's no more questions, then I would like to thank both of the speakers for taking out their time from their busy schedule and giving us so much of information about Firebase. It will definitely help all the participants in HackFest as well as the YouTube viewers. And I'd like to go on the next slide. So for the HackFest starter kit, you can scan the QR code and you can join the Discord and you can get all the information about the HackFest from scanning the QR code. And I hope all your projects are almost completed because the deadline is on 16th May. And make sure to tune in for the next session as well. It's at 3 p.m. It's Flutter, and I hope that will help with your projects as well. So I would like to thank all the viewers as well for tuning in. And thank you again the speakers, Mr. Richard Lee and Mr. Jarawat.